Okay, today our objective is to solve real-world problems involving multiplication of mixed numbers. And we're going to use an area essential question: how can I solve real-world problems involving multiplication of mixed numbers? Let's take this real-world situation. The Colliers want to put new flooring in a 6.5 foot by 7 foot bathroom. What is the area of the bathroom floor? Now, area equals length times width. A lot of times we talk about an area model where we'll have a rectangle and we're solving for how many squares are inside of it. That is actually known as area. We're just going to call one of the dimensions length and the other one width. In our problem here, the area would be 6.5 foot right here by a 7 1/3 bathroom. And you can see here our area model. We have 7 1/3 on the bottom, and our width being 6.5 feet. So our area equation would actually be 7 1/3 times 6 1/2. Now we're actually going to split this area model up a lot like we did when we first started multiplication a long time ago using an area model. What we're going to do is we're going to split it up first vertically, and we're going to save the left side for our whole number 7 and the right side for our 1/3. Now the right side on 1/3, what we're going to do is we're going to split it actually up into 1/3 so you can see the whole area like so. So you can see here we have the 7 as a whole number, and this 1/3 red section right here is representing a 1/3. Now for our horizontal model, we're going to represent 6 1/2. And you can see that we're going to take the first whole half of it to represent our whole number, and then we're splitting the second half into halves so that we can represent our half of 6.5 feet. Now we're going to take and we're going to identify what we're going to have to multiply our factors for to find each area, each partial product for the area of the whole. Now here you can see we have 7, and you cross it straight across with 6, and we know we're going to be multiplying 7 times 6 to find. If we're to find the area in this small area, you can see it's in a 1/3 column, and it intersects with row 6, so it'll be 1/3 times 6. Up here, we can see that we have column is still 7 holes, and the row is it intersects with this 1/2, so we have 7 times 1/2. Is intersecting with the column of 1/3 and the row of 1/2. Now we have identified each algebraic expression that we're going to use to solve the area in each individual square or rectangle. We're going to start with 7 times 6 down here, and we know our multiples, so we know 7 times 42. Now our next one is the one up top, which is 7 times 1/2. Now a lot of people say, well, I know 7 times 1/2 is going to be 3.5. Well, a lot of times we want to work it out as a fraction because it's a lot easier to deal with fraction. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to represent our whole number in a fraction. And the way we is we put the whole number over 1, and we can tell that that works because 1 will go into 7 times. Now we know by multiplying fractions we have is 7 times 1 is 7, 1 times 2 is 2, 7 seconds. Now from the exercise we've been doing in class, we know we're looking at how many times 2 will go into 7, and 2 will go into 7 3 times, 1 left over, so we end up with 3 1/2. Next we're going to go down to this area, and we're saying 1/3 times 6. Once again, we're going to make the 6 a whole by putting it over 1, and now we have 1 times 6 to be 6, and 3 times 1 to be up with 6/3. And we know 3 will go into 6 2 times. We know that this area right here is equal to 2 feet squared actually. Now our last problem is our multiplication of fractions, and we know we multiply numerators by numerators, denominators by denominators, so 1/6. Now we have partial products, so we're going to add our whole numbers. And you can see we've got 42, we've got 2, and we got 3. So we add them together and we get a total of 47. Now we're going to add our fractions. Now here we have our two fractions, 1/2 and 1/6. So we have two different ways we can do it. We can either do our cross multiplication, what we call in the class our smiley face, or we can find an equivalent fraction. I'm going to find an equivalent fraction. So I'm going to take 1/2 and I'm going to multiply 3/3, and we go 2 times 3 is 6, 1 times 3 is 3, so we end up with 3/6, so we know that's equivalent to 1/2. Now we have 3/6 plus 1/6. Since we have common denominators, we can just add. We end up with 4/6. Now we know we can simplify 4/6 because they are both even, so they're divisible by 2. So we're going to divide both of them by 2. 4 divided by 2 would be, and 6 divided by 2 is 3, so we end up with 2/3. So we know the total area after adding all our partial products is 43 2/3 feet squared. We say feet squared because we're multiplying two dimensions. The two dimensions being length and width. So that's an easy way to remember that the answer has to be feet squared because we're only multiplying two dimensions. I hope this video helps you out, and we'll look over multiplying mixed numbers using improper fractions next week. Bye-bye.